people that participate in a dance, they all create something together. The DJ and the dancers are all part of the same thing somehow. You producing the music for that exact moment, you have a great opportunity to create the rhythm that put together all these people.
Yeah.
And if you can do that in a great way, and plus adding a message to it, and people in that moment maybe get in an ecstatic moment, and they really absorb that message because they feel part of it.
What's up? Welcome back to another episode of DCMTV. My guest today is Luyo from Double Cheese Records. We had a great conversation about music, inspiration, working in the studio, as well as crypto and blockchain technologies, since he does have some good in-depth knowledge about that. Luyo and myself have had those conversations in the past before, so I was happy that we could get into something and perhaps share a little knowledge about that with people as well. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and bell notifications so you can continue to get these interviews as they come in. Unfortunately, this time I was not able to capture myself on video, so this time there will be a still photo of me and the interview with Luyo. You will hear my voice, but unfortunately you won't have myself, you won't be able to see me talking. Nevertheless, still a great interview and lots of great information, so thank you for tuning in and enjoying this great interview with Luyo. DCMTV, my guest today is Luyo. He's a well-traveled man, producer, label owner of Double Cheese Records. Luyo has been included for the past 5 years in the world's top 50 for genres such as soulful house, Afro house, Afro-Brazilian, Latin. So make sure you hit that like button, hit the bell notification, and hit subscribe. Helps this show out with the algorithms on YouTube and gets more people to view it. Luyo, thank you for being on the show. How are you doing today?
Thanks, man. I'm very well. Thank you.
Good, man.
Thanks for having me.
I wanted to ask you, where in Spain are you located?
I'm currently located in the island of Mallorca, in the Balearic Islands. So we're basically in front of Ibiza.
Beautiful island. So before getting to Mallorca, can you tell us about your musical journey that led you to presently where you are now?
Yeah. It's a long story, but to make it short, basically, I was born in Naples, in Italy. And then I moved with my family in the island of Pantelleria, which is between Sicily and North Africa. And I spent there, the few years when I was a little kid, a little baby. And then I moved around Italy, and then I went to live in the Caribbean for 10 years as a resident DJ over there. And then, back to Italy and now Spain. So I guess, my music journey is part of my journey as a person, because of course you absorb all the influences and all the music you listen to and the people you meet in your travels. So I was lucky enough to have this experience of coming from different places that gave me, many inputs from music, African music to Caribbean to the Mediterranean, basically.
Nice. So this is all kind of the exposure to music you've gotten over the years, which kind of led you to starting your own label, Double Cheese, at that point, 2012. What was the idea and thought process behind starting this label, why you wanted to do it, and why, I guess the birth of it was 2012, why that was the time where you felt like it's time to start a label now?
I always been into music, experimenting with samplers and taking drums and bass lessons. and I always wanted to actually produce music, and this is how I started. Then I became a DJ, pretty much full time. But I was living in the Caribbean, and I didn't have many contacts in the business. So this is the reason I came back to Europe, and I started to collaborate with a manager, of Kerry Chandler and Tony Humphries, the big DJs coming from the USA, which was always my background, because in Naples we used to have these huge parties by Angels of Love, and they used to come. They used to bring all these big guns from New York, from Chicago. So I would go and listen to the likes of Francois Kevorkian, Frankie Nichols, Master at Work, which is all part of my musical background somehow. So when I was back in Rome, I started to collaborate with the Tony Records, which was Tony Humphries' label, and that's where I actually released my first song. And after the first release, I already thought that I could. I really wanted to be in charge of the whole process, basically, from the distribution to everything that's behind the curtains in the music business. I was really, excited and ready to start the journey. So I started mainly in the soulful house genre, and of course it evolved into different shades of house, taking my own experience in the more kind of tribal rhythms, that I would listen on radios when I was in the Caribbean,
Totally.
or in Tanzania. So
Right. So an amalgamation
came
of
together.
all that stuff together. And
Mm.
you mentioned that you played guitar and bass as well. So if you're producing in the studio, I see you have some keyboards there. Are you pulling out the bass and the guitar sometimes too, or how does that work? How does your production process work?
It's really it doesn't have like a static style.
Yeah.
There's different, like, for example, today I started a track, and I started from the rhythm, from the drums, from the percussions, and I'm actually kind of leaning into a music production process where less is more, and I'm trying to, because I come from coming from soulful house, from soul, blues, funk, disco. It's very musical. There are so many melodies and things happening at the same time.
Yeah.
Of course, when you start DJing, you kind of learn how it's the simple thing that work, and it's the simple rhythms. So I'm trying to, maybe I have different ideas, and then I
Yeah.
put all together, create all together. Everything goes together in the thing, and then I listen back the day after, and I start to delete everything,
Right. Right.
and and get back to the essence of the most basic thing, which is always, it's the bass and the drum or dance music.
Gotcha. So
Groove is that's it.
stylistically, is there anything that's shaping the sound of 2022 right now, or is it still much of the same as before?
We're coming from a couple of years where I don't think we had much of an evolution. I mean, I think the
Mm,
past years before the COVID, we did have lots of evolution in style in dance music, in the underground. I mean, of course.
yeah. Yeah.
So I remember clearly the first time I heard Black Coffee playing live, and for me it was like such an experience, because it would take me into a kind of a tunnel, a, uh, a place where I couldn't get out of it. I was like imprisoned into it, but in a good way. I was like
Yeah.
I couldn't escape the sound.
Trapped. Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
slapped. And for me, it was amazing because it was so. Yeah, it made sense. It made sense from the beginning to.
Right.
And after that, I mean, for me personally, of course, there are lots of influences right now, and you can tell from the evolution of my sound and the label sound as well.
Right.
So I'm probably coming from an organic sound. I'm trying to now use more and more electronic
Right.
sound.
Gotcha.
And
So so.
I think it's like a global thing anyway.
Mhm.
Like I'm listening to sets, DJ sets worldwide, and it is like a trend, I believe. This progressive, deep sound.
Yeah. The projects you did with Jill Scott Heron and Barbara Tucker. Um, these are obviously, really, really great singers, vocalists. How did you manage to find the opportunity to work with those type of vocalists?
Um, things. It's like when you work in the business long enough, some things happen to, yeah, just happen, and things come, and you just attract, the good things. I believe. So there was a moment in which I think I was in Amsterdam ADE, and I met these guys that had this label in England, and I knew that they had this the that Jill Scott Heron song, and it was like very emotional for me when they offered me the opportunity to remix it because it was like a big artist, and we would listen to it home, and my dad used to listen all the time. So um, it was really I was really humbled to have this opportunity, and of course, the song did very well because it went up to number one in sales in the charts of track sources. So it was a nice one. And actually, there's a nice
Yeah.
story because once I was in Antigua on the beach, and I was like swimming, and then from a beach bar, I would listen to that song coming
Oh,
out, and it
cool.
was like the first time. Actually, not wasn't the first time, but it was like, I mean, and it's amazing, when you listen to your song being played by a stranger.
And it's totally random.
And then, Barbara Tucker, I knew her from a long time because I invited her to perform in Antigua. But also, the likes of Kerry Chandler, we had guests on the label, Opolopo, so many great artists.
Yeah.
And but I always, remind myself that part of the heritage that I want to leave is create the opportunities for young artists. So
Yes.
for me, um, the opportunity to play with the renowned big artists should lead to um, to the chance to open the platform to young artists and give them the chance to be heard because there's so much good music, and
Yeah. Yeah.
have a label in a way is a responsibility, because of course you have a vision, but you also have a space and you want to fill it with everyone's creativity and ideas. So
Hmm.
I'm very happy, every time I got hit by a mail with a promo, coming from a young producer, and so many times, I released the first track from an artist that then eventually would become a renowned artist in the business. They would release
Right.
them labels, and for me, it's
Good
great.
feeling. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, because you come, you're the first one that gave him the opportunity, and they
Totally.
always remember that. So it's great to create this kind of opportunities for everyone.
Awesome. And so, yeah, so going back to the label for a minute, something I wanted to ask you about was noticing that the genres, the evolution of the genres on your label, starting from the soulful sound, evolving into the deeper sounds, Afro house, and then the Latin thing. Now it's kind of last couple of releases have been more evolving into the progressive house sound. Is this evolution intentional, or is this something that just kind of happening without any control over that?
I think it is intentional in a way because it reflects, in a way, my own evolution as a music artist. So I think, when you release a track in a genre, then you will have artists in that genre sending you demos, and I'm totally, always up for evolving the sounds. Actually, this is what I'm looking for, in new music. And but at the same time, the label is always open to all of those kinds of music and even more. In the within the time we release the soul, funk, disco, every kind of music that makes sense and has a certain level of quality, of course, meets the standard, but also creatively there are no boundaries. So I'm always happy to receive things even different from the one that we release in that moment, and that opens to new opportunities, new possibilities. It's all good for me. Definitely, for me as an artist, I see. Uh, I'm possibly it's true that possibly I am more focusing now on a certain kind of sound, but that's because I try to stay updated with what I see happening in the world,
Right.
in terms of evolution of sound. Things eventually
What's
evolve.
happening around you?
I, I I don't want to really just to be to be in a niche that is so small and being the number one in that niche. For me, it doesn't really. It's not my goal. For me,
Right.
it's I look at labels like Nervous or Defected that also evolved so much, and it's still dance music, but uh, changes with the
Mm-hmm.
time.
Mm-hmm. Make sure that you guys hit that like button, hit the bell notification, and hit the subscribe. Helps me out, the show out and us out with the algorithms on YouTube. Where you're at now with the label and everything, do you have some projects that you're excited about putting out in the near or later future that you have planned?
Yeah, I always have lots of music that is going to be released very soon next. And now I'm working on. I don't know if it actually is going to be an EP or an album. I'm collaborating with a couple of great singers and artists. So like today, I just received an a cappella for one of the tracks, and it sounds amazing. So
Nice.
I'm really
Cool.
looking forward to release this one. Um, and it's happening soon, hopefully next month or something, just adding the final touches to it.
Cool.
So
So
there is always nice, to wake up in the morning and be able to do what you love, and every day brings new energy and new possibilities, yeah, new ideas.
for sure. So you're doing this full time right now, Luyo? Are you DJing and running a label full time?
Yeah, always been. I mean, from the beginning, it's pretty much always been like this. Yeah.
Okay.
I also do like I also do services for like fellow producers, like mixing and mastering and
Mm.
music distribution. I offer different services also for the artist. So that's another thing that fills the day. But the label really keeps me busy, and producing is always it's an everyday hustle.
Do you have a vision about, or do you have an idea about where you see it going from here? Do you know where the music sound is headed to? Or do you just are you just doing what you like to do and not really following any trends or anything like that?
I think there is space for everyone. For every kind of music right now. Of course, there are trends definitely. That are followed by the underground music, but and then after by pop music. But and that's what happened with Afro House. It started as underground and then eventually became used in pop music. But everything is a cycle.
Mhm.
Things come and go. For example, I'm a huge fan of disco music in a way. That's another aspect. That is fun, that is uplifting, and of course, we didn't have the chance to live like this in the past couple of years, but eventually it will come back. So
Right.
for me, the important thing is to make music that makes sense and in a way that you have the chance to say something, and there must be a message in what you say. Can't be just technique
Mhm.
that gets copied um, and makes sense only in its own niche, because you have the chance to say something, and I think that's something we should do when we produce music.
Right.
Um, like, of course, you have, since for me house music is a language, and uh, but with a language you can say different things.
Right.
So
It's a very open
you
palette.
can it's an open color, and people that participate in a dance, they all create something together. The DJ and the dancers are all part of the same thing somehow.
Right.
You producing the music for that exact moment, you have a great opportunity to create the rhythm that put together all these people.
Yeah.
And if you can do that in a great way, and plus adding a message to it, and people in that moment maybe get in an ecstatic moment, and they really absorb that message because they feel part of it, then it becomes something bigger. You're not creating music as a soundtrack to I don't know, people eating or doing something else, not paying attention to it. It's a moment where people really feel what they're doing.
Right.
That's magic. That
Yeah.
really is magic. And that's something that really gives me the strength to keep on doing what I do. Because if you don't have passion for it, then it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work because people will tell, and you know you're not doing
Yeah.
something you really feel. So
Yeah.
this
It-
is part of the transition that I'm doing, and part of the message transition that I'm
mhm.
lately doing. But the message is more, in a way, shamanic, because it's connected to people, to the earth,
Yeah.
to our ancestors, where we come from, where we go, and it's all part of this big of this sound.
Right. You know what? I thought of one more thing, and I'm sure somebody out there is going to be like, ask the question. I know somebody wants to know, where did the name Double Cheese come from?
Double cheese, came in the moment where the label was leaning towards the soulful sound. So, New York was my mecca, was the place. So, of course, the American food culture is about this kind of things.
Yeah.
But also, it was like a fun name in a moment where all labels had very minimal, tight, and boring names, very technical names. I wanted to create a project that I had a brand uh, that was fun in a way, that was colorful, that was fat, you
Cool.
know.
Yeah.
So that's how it came out, and then
That's great.
yeah,
Love it. Okay, Luyo, thank you very much for being on the show, brother. I really appreciate you and sharing all your experiences and lessons here today. This is DCMTV, and it's been a pleasure to present to you Luyo and Double Cheese Records, and we'll see you soon. Peace.
thank you.
Okay, so we got some lights back on, and we were talking about we were talking about we wanted to talk about crypto and NFTs. It's something that you and I have been talking about offline for quite a while. But you were going to say about NFTs.
Yeah, I mean, I've been into this space for a while actually, and I released. I think I was like one of the first artists to release an NFT exactly 1 year ago,
Right.
and it's called Ishtar, and it's a music track with a video.
Mm-hmm. And it's about
Um,
a minute long, right? Is it a minute long or is it
uh,
the whole song?
it's the whole song. It's the
Oh,
whole
okay.
song.
Okay.
Yeah. But it was an experiment really because
Mm-hmm.
it was just starting, the hype about it, and I've been studying the thing, and it's so interesting for the music business because what happens is that the problem with digital um, things is that um, they are not scarce because of course like an mp3 you can copy as many copies as you want, so you don't have like the feel of something like a press on a vinyl that is a certain limited number of presses and therefore becomes precious because of course precious things are those that they're not in a large numbers. So what happens with the non-fungible tokens is that you have a certain numbers decided by the artist,
Yeah.
and that allows for um, a, a value that goes back to the digital item. I mean,
Right.
goes back to the music,
Yeah.
but can be distributed in a digital way again.
Mm-hmm.
So this, I mean, after a year now, there are platforms that allow you to sell your NFTs as a music track. But I think still we are early.
Yeah. I haven't found the right website yet for how that works in my head. In my head, the way it would work is that it's a store like TrackSource, but it's
Mm.
like limited to whatever amount of copies you limit it to. And the only people that have access to it are the ones who buy it. So then that means they're going to need some kind of wallet, but then that wallet's going to have to be able to connect to Serato or Tractor or something like that too. So then you can play those releases. But yeah, I mean, it's almost a system that can get rid of one of the biggest issues that you and I have as a label owner, which is, I mean, as soon as you put out a release, you have like 50 to 75 free download sites putting
Mm.
your music up for free download. So NFTs can eliminate that for sure. But as you said, it doesn't, the right website isn't there yet. As far as I can tell, I've been looking everywhere. I haven't been able to find it yet.
And I don't think it's only a matter of the platform because there are a couple of interesting ones. We will speak later about this. The thing is that the people are not ready yet. I mean,
Mm,
it's a matter of understanding the process. Having a wallet, all these kind of things. People they don't know yet about these things, so it's
yeah.
gonna take a while for people to learn these things.
Hmm.
Eventually, you will have. I envision, as you said, like a track source, and then like the record box that only reads NFTs. That would be fun.
Right. There we go.
The DJs can only play NFTs, so therefore you must be an owner of an NFT.
Yes.
That's
That's
something that
what I'd like to see.
might happen.
Yeah.
But
Uh,
also for the streaming, for the streaming, and also as a label owner, imagine the possibilities for you to release an NFT by an artist, and then with every sale, his
get
cut
10%
goes
if
out
that's what.
automatically.
That's right. That's right.
You don't even have to do the accounting.
That's right.
The shares get split right at the moment where in the buying moment because
Hmm.
part stays for the label and part goes to the artist. You don't
Right.
have to do the account
So
because
then you can have
it's
like a
automatic.
used record shop, but in this case, it's a used NFT store where people are like selling their older music that they don't want to spin anymore. Somebody else can buy it, and you're always going to get your 10, 15, 20, 30% on top of that. Yeah, you don't have to do the accounting anymore. I mean, and there's so many like applications you can build around it too, you know. Um, but yeah, I guess it's going to take time. I mean, it's like NFTs. I feel like if the music industry doesn't jump on it in the next 10 years, then we probably missed a really great opportunity to
I think the
the industry.
underground music and underground labels and artists, especially the artists, will jump on it. The thing is
Mm,
that they won't be supported by the mainstream uh, and the measures because they would be cut out. Because what happens with the NFTs and the blockchain in general technologies that you cut out the middleman.
yeah, they don't
So
like that.
of course they don't. This is where they take their money from.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it was, it's taking some time, but eventually people will get it. And personally, I'm working on it. Also as a
mm,
label, I'm looking at solutions. And in the future, I see this as the only option to release music. I'm really not so
yeah,
interested in releasing on Spotify
yeah,
or the DJ stores, honestly.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
To me, it looks so old as a concept. For me,
That's true.
the NFTs are next, and but it's gonna happen soon. So
Mm,
I'm very. This is like my
optimistic.
investment. But
Yeah.
I'm optimistic because it's gonna happen. So my
Hmm.
investment is here to learn more about this world.
I'm still watching sites like Audius. I still watch, but it's not there yet. Like because they're not paying artists per stream yet. It's still like donated Audius coins. But I'd like to see that site figure it out so that they're paying the streams directly, and then once again you take out the main service for taking a majority of that money like Spotify does and stuff like that. um, so yeah, I mean, even if streaming did become a blockchain service, I still think there's a way where you can make a lot more money on streaming if you do it conceptually in a blockchain route than you would like just going through Spotify and all this other crap. You probably get much more money per play and stuff like that.
Definitely, but it's about the people that are part of this. So it's about knowledge. People that have to take time and learn about this new technology and
Mm-hmm.
opportunities that it takes and that it brings. And this is going to happen within 1 year or two. Because
Oh, you
things
think
are,
so, eh? That fast? Wow.
yes, I mean, things that changes so fast in this
Mm,
space, so fast in terms of DeFi, like decentralized finance.
mm-hmm.
Things change every week,
That's
but
right.
like with
That's true.
with major jumps and evolution, because with the blockchain, everything is you can check the code,
Right.
so
Okay.
you can even copy the code and
Mm,
make it better.
right. Right.
So I mean,
This is interesting.
a big player will come and will find a way to make this easy for everyone, because this is the thing, you have to make it easy.
Yeah. I know, and I also felt like, for musicians, especially, if you if you're someone who feels like you can't really get ahead. I know everybody says this isn't financial advice, but as far as I'm concerned, I'm at the point where like this is what I feel is the opportunity of a lifetime for the people who finally can be like, all right, I didn't spend the last 40 years like going to school and becoming a lawyer. So if I want to get ahead, like this could very well be that moment, if you invest in it properly. I mean, you don't just grab a bunch of crap coins like Godzilla and like yellow Tweety birds or something, like don't grab those coins. But if you do your research, you get the right blockchains and you get into the yield farming and stuff like that. Like this could be a very incredible way to set your future up. And actually, like, now for the first time in my life, I feel like I can do that and I can make music completely 100% relaxed um because I feel like my future is set up for me,
Mm.
just by being a part of something that I really, honestly, I really believe in what it will become, and especially what's happening in here in Canada right now. I think that now more than ever, we're starting to see like how important it is to be able to have crypto and that kind of thing. Because
But also, maybe people would wonder, what's the connection with the music? But for me, the choice to make music full time and to have a music label as work job,
Mhm,
it's always been to be free from
right.
a certain system,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
to be
Yeah.
independent. This is
Hmm.
the thing, to be
Yes.
independent. And this is a key moment where also finance can become, I mean, you as a person can have an approach to finance that is independent. Therefore, you can be more free in a way.
Hmm. Hmm. I like that, man.
So this is this is why I'm behind all these things because I see them as connected. For me,
Yeah.
music and this revolution that is
Yeah.
happening, that is a technology revolution that is gonna bring so much. It's connected somehow because
Yeah.
it gives me tools to
Hmm.
become even more independent and free.
I'll tell you that even for me, for anybody who seems overwhelmed by this whole industry, it takes a while to understand. I've been watching and reading stuff for years now to understand it. But once you start getting into it, you realize like there's some ability to translate your understanding of like music labels and tracks and whatever into um, crypto because you know how to do the research on it. Like when I'm digging for music, which I've been doing since I was a kid, I'll check a label. I check like who the person is who runs it or who the people are, and maybe I know their names from other related projects. Um, I look at how long the label's been around, like what their releases are, and kind of their consistency of what they're doing. I mean, all of this can be thought of in the same way when you're looking at crypto as well, crypto projects and that kind of thing too. Um, it felt totally natural to be able
Mm.
to kind of just translate that, and not feel like, well, if I'm not a financial guy, then I don't know. I mean, there's always warning. You got to take some risk, you know what I mean? But there's tons of records I bought too that that didn't pan out for that band or that label or whatever. It doesn't always work out, but it feels very natural is the point I'm saying, so I, for anyone who's feeling like it's overwhelming at first, it doesn't have to be at all. As soon as you start reading about it, start with a book that explains blockchain, and then start reading about different cryptos, what they are, how long they've been around, what their cap markets are,
Mm.
where they're headed, what their intentions are. You'll start to get an idea of what the real projects are. Like that Shibu and Doge and all of that stuff is nothing. It's not going anywhere. It doesn't have any value at all as far as I'm concerned.
Mhm.
But you look at the ones that really are have the intention of creating like wealth for independent people, and they're there, and they're incredible projects. So hey guys, thanks again for tuning in. If you liked what you saw, please subscribe and like the videos. If you want to show some more support, you can leave comments in the sections under the video about maybe other topics that I can be talking about with the artists in the interviews. Please follow me on Instagram, Spotify, Facebook, YouTube. I have a playlist on Spotify that has the artists that we'll be interviewing on this channel as well. If you're interested in any of my music, it's all available at www.deepculturemusic.com. That's my music label, and I have a lot of great music that I've made myself and my friends. And please share the video with your social medias and with your friends. Maybe suggest to get them to like it as well, so we can continue to have this channel grow and do more great interviews. Okay, thanks a lot, and I look forward to seeing you soon.